guys, it's Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today for our Artesprix Iron-On Ink project, we're going to be doing a fun pot holder. And the reason I say it's fun is because I am ready for some Halloween crafting, so I am pulling out some of my Halloween stamps that have been in my stash for at least a couple of years, and we are going to be making a fun design on top of this guy. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to get our paper ready for the blank, right? So we're going to use a pencil because the pencil, graphite and pencil is not going to transfer. We're just going to trace around it. Now what this does, it lets us know where on our card or on our paper we want the design so that it's going to be in the right spot. So that way we put our design down, it's going to cover the area we want it to cover. So the stamp set that I'm going to be using is one from Tim Holtz. I will leave a link to it down below if I can find it. I'm not sure if it's still available. I think it is. But it's got a bunch of these real big sentiments, and it came with a stencil. This is the stencil it came with. It's part of a combo pack that I got at Joann's probably 5 years ago. Anyway, there's a bunch of these fun sayings on here, and I think it would be great for my pot holder. So this is what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to use the one that says, I'm here for the candy, and have it kind of down here in the bottom. But you may have noticed, if we're doing this and we're pressing onto something, don't we have to have it mirrored? Absolutely. So, and I tested this because I have not had much success with this before, we are going to be mirroring this. Okay, so I'm able to put half a sheet of cardstock into my MISTI. So I'm going to put this on a smaller piece of acetate. Okay. And then we can, because we want to have it mirrored, I'm going to actually put it over here in the corner. I'm not going to worry too much about whether or not it's perfectly straight this time. I'm going to be able to line everything up right where I want it because the paper's all the way in the corner. If it lifts, okay, I can put it back exactly where I want it. This little guy, because it's a square, I can put it right in the corner, and it's going to be fine too. One thing I did learn when I did my sample earlier is I can't put this exactly in the corner here, and I can't really put it all the way up to where the grid lines are. I need to come bring it in just a touch, because otherwise it may not close. Yeah, I tried that before. But again, I'm going to make something kind of like this, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with the sentiment after we get done. You can also move this around while I put the ink on, so I don't get ink all over everything. Okay, I'll go ahead and slide that right back down into the corner. So just slide it down into the corner and lift up that ink again. And you notice everything stays right in place. You just have to put it right down in the corner. And we'll take the stamp back off. And let's go ahead and stamp that down with the mirror. I'm going to make sure I get plenty of pressure down here with the Y, because that's the part that missed it last time. And that is looking really good. Okay, so I'm going to say that that is good enough. Here's another tip though, guys. If you decide that that isn't quite enough, you can go back and take your Artesprix markers and color it in, basically tracing out the different letters. So you can do that. I have done it before. But this, I think, is going to be a really fun way to get your words looking about right, especially for Halloween, because it doesn't have to be perfect. So I know I said that I would explain. So you're wondering, how am I going to be using this for this? They're not the right size, right? So I'm going to use another tool that we have at our craft room, just a regular pair of scissors. So I'm going to just trim around the edges of this, and that's going to allow me to layer it over. This is something I did not know if I would be able to do for a long time. I did not know if you could layer cardstock or not. I do a lot of die cutting in my card making world. So because of that, I have lots and lots of dies that you basically layer on top of one another in order to get the design and look that you want, right? But what about when we're needing to make a flat design? How do I do that? So what I'm going to do with this, now that I've got the sentiments, I'm going to decorate the rest of this, and then I'm going to just adhere that down onto our cardstock before we press it. So let's go ahead and decorate the background. I'm going to use that same set. So this is a stencil and stamp set that I got at Joann's quite a while ago, and I'm going to use the bats because, yeah. And I'm going to grab out one of my, I've got blending brushes and I've got paper pouncers. I think I might want to use both. So I've got, here's one for purple, and then I've got my blending brushes. These are all ones that I have designated specific for my Artesprix inks because you do not want to commingle with your other supplies. Okay? The inks do not act the same way, so you don't want to get them mixed together. Okay, I think since we've got an orange, we have orange for our sentiment. I think I'm going to start off with some purple. And we do have lots of different colors of ink. There's my purple. So here's my purple brush, and here's my purple paper pouncer. I'm also going to use for this one of my waffle flower mats, so I can hopefully hold everything in place. I will shift things around a little bit to make sure that they stay in place. So I'm just going to put this down vertically and place my paper down onto it, place my cardstock onto it, press it down pretty good so it sticks. And then whatever sticks over the edge, that's going to hold my stencil in place. I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to start off with my paper pouncer and the purple ink. This is going to give kind of a, it's going to give more ink. You're going to be able to get more ink down than if you use the blending brush. But, of course, with the blending brush, you can also get a lot more variation of color. So you could definitely use either one. And of course, while I was doing this, I started thinking, do I want another color also in there? Now, these colors are translucent, so you just want to make sure that if you do something like this, they're colors that are going to work okay together. Like, we could use blue or red because they're complementary. It wouldn't turn into mud. And I think that's actually what I'm going to do. And I could also do a little bit of purple, too. I think I'll start off with maybe around edges. Haven't decided. It doesn't really matter, but you can just do a little bit on there. Just loading up my brush, and then I'm just going to come in. See, I'm just adding a little bit. That just means it's not going to be completely white back there. And of course, I am still experimenting because I never know for sure what I want to do when it comes to this stuff. It's like, how's it going to look when it gets pressed? That's the part I don't really know. Okay, so we got a lot of purple down, but we've got a lot of light purple, and then we've got the darker purple for the bats. Next, we've got this little guy, right? We've got where we did the reverse stamping. So I need to adhere that down. I think I'm going to just use a glue stick this time, because it doesn't really need to have a really good heavy-duty hold. It just needs to hold it in place long enough for us to press it. And I am going to use my little T-square thing here to make sure that I get it in the right spot. So just lining it up with the edge there. And I also am going all the way to the edge, which means it's also going to get that white, that, the part that sews everything together along the edges. It's going to get that too. Okay, I think I want it to be right about there. And that does look, I'm just going to look again and see if it looks like it's straight. Okay, I'm going to say that that is good enough. Okay, so here we have our design, and the way that this is going to work, we're going to have our design, we're going to have it onto the white surface, like that, And then we're going to tape everything in place. And I can still see my pencil line. The pencil line is not going to transfer, but it does let me know right where I need to have my blank attached. Okay? Then we're going to take some heat-resistant tape and tape it in place. You do want to make sure that you're using enough tape so that it does not slide around. You don't want it to slide because then you get ghosting. And, okay, it's Halloween, so ghosting may not be too big of a deal on this project, but I still don't really want it, so yeah. And I have had things move before, so I'm going to be careful on this one because I do not want the ghosting on this Halloween project. Okay. And the only reason I didn't tape the top and the bottom is there's really not enough card there to hold on. Okay, so what we have here, we're going to be making our sublimation sandwich. Now, the way that the sandwich works is you've got two pieces of the protective paper, one under, one on top. This is going to protect your surfaces, okay? So I'm going to be using a clamshell heat press for this, so this is going to protect my machine. And the way that you want this to go inside your machine is going to be actually the opposite of what we have here. We need the bottom paper, then we need the blank, which is like your hamburger bun, hamburger. We've got the design, which is your cheese, and then we've got another piece of the sublimation protective paper to go on top. Now, a lot of folks use butcher paper. That is totally fine, but this is actually siliconized paper. It's made of silicone. It actually is better, and it is what the pros use. So I absolutely love using this stuff. So I've just placed this into my heat press. Again, we have our sublimation hamburger sandwich, whatever you want to call it, with our paper, then our blank, then our design, and then another sheet of the paper. So it's basically like a hamburger. The heat press has had time to heat up, so I'm going to go ahead and close it down. There we go, and just waiting for 60 seconds. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and open this up. And we're going to take a really quick sneak peek. Now, this is going to be hot. I'm looking for a place where I can actually see it. Hot, hot, hot. Can see that there is some ink on the protective paper. Okay, we can see it looks like we got good coverage, but this, like I said, is very hot. Fabulous. So I'm going to go ahead and take this over to my desk, and we're going to take a look at it. When I lift this up, first thing you see is that there is some ink over here, which means can't use that piece again. You do not want to reuse your protective paper if it's stained because it could transfer the ink to your next project. But let's go ahead and take a look. See the bats? So we have our little bats. Okay, so that is definitely Halloween-y. It's not perfect, but yeah, I think that worked out pretty good. And this is permanent. This is going to say permanent. It's not going to wash out. So you don't have to worry about that. So I am trying to use different techniques every time, so I'm learning more when I'm doing this. And this is the first time that I've used the reverse stamping, and I think the sentiment came out super good. I love that. Yes. And you can probably notice that it's not nearly as red as the stamping was. This is definitely not the same color as what we saw the first time around. I think this turned out pretty cute. And I can't wait to see what you guys make. So if you are inspired at all to make something similar to this, be sure to tag me with hashtag WJ's Crafting Corner, and be sure to tag Artesprix with hashtag Artesprix Ink. I know Ashley would love to see what you make. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, guys!